a tiny bit about perspective today, and then we're going to talk about something else. It's just basically, again, a continuation of Little Lily. And they're going to send up like the equivalent of the bat signal emergency here. So basically, we're going to take this, which is already in perspective this way, and we're going to turn it. So this is a way to, you kind of have to eyeball it. But I think the best way to do it is we're going to start with this drawing, which is sort of tilted in perspective. We've got our background here. So it's obviously the city. And then the best way to to make it work is then you're going to go with your final pose, which is this one right here. And basically, so you've got your start pose, your end pose, and basically this layout pose is just an in between of these two. Okay, and you can see it turning in perspective. So I think it's the best way to do it is to start with the drawing that you're going to start with, obviously, no matter what position it's in, and then you want to do your final pose and then just work into that right like this. Boom. So there's the bat signal. Now after this shot, we're going to pull back a little bit so we can see for full effect what's happening here. We saw it in the previous scene turn, and then we're going to see it shooting up to the sky. And then after this, of course, we're going to cut to the actual signal up there, what that looks like. But anyway, and also I just want to very quickly talk about 2D animation. So I think that the reason I like 2D animation is because it's a more direct expression of what the artist is doing. You don't have to use anybody else. You don't have to build models. You don't have to take a model that's already built. You're creating something from nothing. Also, it's an immediate sort of transference of what the artist has in mind, and he can put it on that paper. The other thing good about 2D animation these days is people can do it on their own. In the old days, you'd need a whole crew of people to do it, but these days, because of all these software programs, you can basically animate on your own and do all the steps. You can do layouts, you can do rough animation, you can do cleanup, and you can do color all in one program. You can get one of these programs, you can experiment, you can get immediate gratification because you don't have to take the drawings and shoot them under the camera. However, if you want to draw on paper, of course, that's what you're going to do. You're going to shoot these you're going to scan these. But I just think 2D animation these days, although it's not as big as it used to be, I think the possibilities are a lot more than they used to be. So I think if you're starting out animating, I think 2D animation is a good way to start. You can, of course, branch out into other things, but I think these days 2D animation is a lot easier to do by yourself. So that's why I'm sort of pushing to continue the 2D animation. So thank you. The way to get involved in 2D animation is basically there's lots of sites on the internet that you can learn from. You can Google things. You can look at other animators' work. You can look at other studios' work. There's lots of different possibilities. There's a lot of different resources you can draw from these days. When I was animating back a long time ago, there was no internet. It was basically you had Super 8 films and you were looking at them on an editor. And that's about all you had. You had a few books in the library, but there was not the resources that people have today. So I would strongly suggest, if you're interested in doing 2D animation, is to go on the internet and Google 2D animation, and you're going to see a whole bunch of sites come up and to sort of introduce you to that. But I think if 2D animation is going to survive, it's going to take a lot of people that are enthusiastic about it. And basically I make my living doing 2D animation, so I get a lot of fans who like 2D animation. They tell me how much they love the hand-drawn stuff and how it's more emotional for them and that sort of thing. So I think there's definitely a market for it, and there's a hunger for it. Again, there are many, many resources to draw upon, pun intended, to sort of get introduced to it, and then to sort of, like I said, make some of these things on your own. It's also great to get a team together and do films together. So anyway, but I would definitely search, Google search 2D animation and look at all the different resources and look at all the people doing it. Email people if you need to. There's people on Facebook who have Facebook pages. There's definitely a lot of possibilities.